I'm not proud of myself.
Yup.
Oh, guys, I gotta tell you something really.
The fuck? What the fuck? What? Hey guys, my name is Nikos, and welcome back to the channel. Well, that's game. Let me tell you about the forgotten side of Lethal Company. We all know the game is built around the team dynamic. It is practically meant to be played with friends. As many tools and survival strategies all involve the buddy system. Sometimes, the boys aren't online, either because you're unemployed on a Tuesday afternoon, or you have no friends, or both. The good news is you work for the company now, so you're no longer unemployed. The bad news is you still have no friends. I've been rolling into Lethal Company friendless for the better part of a few months now, on and off. It offers a drastically different experience, complete with new challenges, new threats, and perhaps one of the most bitter single-player experiences that I've ever played. Solo Lethal Company is actually pretty awful in my opinion. What is this? What is this RNG? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Granted, the game is meant to be a multiplayer survival game, and it is in early access, so I don't think I could be too hard on it being pretty awful in single player. Despite this, there's something fascinating and almost exhilarating about single player Lethal Company. What's the appeal to it? For some reason, the abandonment and solitude of solo Lethal Company is fascinating to me, and I really want to talk about the often forgotten side of this game. And by the end of this video, I'll even share some tips on how you too can survive and thrive all alone across the 8 moons of Lethal Company. Also, before we start, I wanted to give a special thanks to the channel members and patrons. If you'd like to support the channel more, check out the links in the description. Thanks, y'all. It's on my face! I'm done. I can't find the stun grenade. Oh my... Wait. Oh no. Oh no. Immediately upon starting a solo playthrough, you'll notice the most significant change to the game. It is depressingly lonely and quiet. Your friends won't be joining you in these dark halls. It's all you from here on out. No more laughing at each other's deaths, no more jamming to the boombox, no more marching into Titan as a shovel hit squad. Lethal Company is a horror game, but it is typically more of a mild one due to the multiplayer aspect kinda lightening the atmosphere of the game. All the tension and jump scares are undercut by you and your friends generally being a circus. Yeah, bud. Yeah, I see it. You ain't cool. You ain't tough. You look like a butt. Ow, 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 ow!
Oh shit! You look like a butt!
Meanwhile, solo is even more stressful because of the biggest realization that you've just made upon entering the facility. Because you're in solo play, once you die, you lose all of the loot on your ship. This is a significant difficulty spike. One slip up, one missed jump, one landmine, bracken neck snap, or quicksand puddle, and you're out of money. And that quota? It's tight, unbearably so. I love this video game. Nice. Oh, ain't that pretty?
Report to the company building immediately to sell your scrap metal and other goods.
Is this enough? The quota value scales the same way as it does in multiplayer. So you'll be up against a multiplayer-sized quota with a quarter of the inventory slots and no allies. But it's not all bad. There are a few pros to playing solo. The few saving graces of being alone is that you'll find that your friends can't accidentally kill you now, and you will never need to buy walkie-talkies. Although it's not like you're going to be saving much money on that anyway, considering that you're not going to be making much. Additionally, snare fleas won't hug you until death anymore. They will latch on just until you are near death before hopping off and scurrying away. One more benefit is that you will likely be talking less, considering you probably won't be talking to yourself. So the enemies that normally can hear you won't be able to pin you down as easily. And that's it. That's all you get in solo from what I've come to understand. My favorite part of Lethal Company's single player is that the game takes on an entirely new persona. The facilities themselves become far creepier when alone. Normally, death carries a lighter consequence, and your friends are just around the corner or down the hall. That usually lightens the stress in most cases. In solo, you will be sucked into the world. the player becomes completely absorbed in the ambient noises of creaks and bangs throughout the bleak hallways. Tension builds to uncomfortable levels the more lost you become in the black maze-like catacombs of these dungeons. Whenever a perceived threat becomes realized and an enemy rolls into your part of town, all built tension releases and the game can become quite intense. Challenging enemy monsters solo and unarmed is a hopeless venture. As the hours pass and the day wanes, spookier big bads typically like to come around. Survival in these halls turns into desperate loot grabbing in the dark at this point. Every move, every decision, everything carries far more weight as death can bring the end of an entire run. While playing solo, the facility in Lethal Company closely resembles an immune system of sorts, with the lone employee being an infectious life form. As soon as the employee enters it, the facility slowly adjusts to find and destroy you, and that unnerving tension has me looking down black halls solo with a 1000 quota stare. Oh god! Solo play genuinely sucks the fun out of Lethal Company. In a way, though, it somehow adds some back by adding far more tension. It turns a fun party horror game into a bland, dull, and frustratingly depressing mess. Bad RNG will also kill you on occasion as well, adding to the frustration. What is this? What is this RNG? While competing to get the highest quota solo is a fun prospect, to me, the game does get very boring and very old after mere hours of solo play, and it just makes me want to play with my friends again. Single-player Lethal Company feels like the toil of a 9-to-5 but without pay. But if you would like to try it, or genuinely love this game even in single-player, allow me to share with you what I've learned to help you survive. Like I've mentioned, survival in solo mode is dismal, but here are some tips that can make it much more of a breeze. What was that? Oh gosh. This game's gotta stop with the sounds, bro. Try not to pay attention to the ambient sounds of the dungeons. Although you should be listening closely to monsters and traps, discern what an ambient noise is compared to an entity's noise as you keep your focus forward. As the sun is going down, every second counts in the looting effort, and you will have no time to relax, nor have help from a second pair of hands. In my playthroughs, I prefer to avoid parkour jumps across broken catwalks unless no other route exists. The risk was usually not worth it, as a missed jump can completely end a run. No! I myself have fallen into a pit on the last day of a quota before, losing everything I had, and thus completely losing the game due to one small accident. You should also check fire exits on each moon. Loot near the entrance of fire escapes is easy money, and can be a good alternative to diving into a maze of dark halls finding no loot whatsoever, and most likely a landmine or some monster of some kind instead. Remember that March has 3 fire exits while the other moons have 1. As you prepare to exfil from a bunker, keep in mind that you only have 4 inventory slots. And that's not a lot, so plan trips in advance. Keep in mind how long it will take to haul everything back to your ship, and how many trips you will need to get back to the ship at a decent time in your 9-to-5. One key survival tip for you is to manage your stamina closely. I like to only burn about half of my stamina bar while outside in the late hours of the day. If a giant worm, blind dog, or a giant decides to spawn near you or chase you, being able to drop all your items and immediately sprint full speed at a moment's notice will save your life. Going further into exfiltration, grab the most valuable items first on your return trips in case of a monster infestation on the surface, so if you do have to leave loot behind, it isn't as valuable as what you managed to get back to the ship with. Luckily, you shouldn't be talking as much, and therefore eyeless dogs are slightly less of a threat, though don't forget they will still hear footsteps and dropped items. On the flip side, baboon hawks will likely attack you far more often, as they prefer to attack isolated players rather than groups of employees. Make sure to yell and shout at them to intimidate them to back down. I'm not kidding, that's an actual mechanic. Trash talk is a pro-rated strat in this game. Let's get out.
That was bragging.
Yeah! Yeah, you better run, punk! Yeah! When it comes to equipment, you won't have a lot of money, but on the flip side, you only will need to buy equipment for yourself. Not to mention, much of the loot in this game is meant for a team dynamic, and therefore is useless in single player, so you won't even be buying it. That being said, there is a handful of tools that are usually beneficial in solo runs. The most important of them are the flashlights, stun grenade, shovel, extension ladder, and jetpack. When playing it safe, I like to run the stun grenade and shovel build. A stun grenade, or homemade flashbang, can save you in a pinch. Chucking one or blasting one in your face at enemies can give you an escape window in an otherwise unlivable situation, freezing enemies momentarily and allowing you to brush past them. The shovel is obviously your only option for dealing damage against monsters, outside of stop signs and yield signs, but the shovel is much lighter, so bringing one is helpful for dealing with these threats if you're forced into a fight. Though a fight will probably still not end well for crewmates, so try to avoid them if you can. Flashlights are also still a plus, but much like all equipment, you will have extra to carry back to the ship due to inventory slots being taken up by tools, as well as extra weight slowing you down. Regardless, at the least, stun grenades have saved me a ton of times, so consider bringing at least one. Jetpacks and extension ladders for late game can prove useful for getting around the map quickly and reaching raised fire exits. Keep in mind that the jetpack is insanely heavy and only has so much battery and is currently kind of buggy, distributing random fall damage, so I can't really recommend it unless you land in an eclipse or you are speed incarnate. While these tools are great for newer players or those wishing to play it safe, might I recommend betting against the odds a little. My current build for running solo is the classic no tools build. Why? With the significant lack of players in the lobby, you don't have a lot of hands to transport loot. Dark hole? Just get in there, the water's fine, you don't need a flashlight. Just spam your suit's built-in scanner to slightly illuminate these areas and spot loot and monsters. Just swallow your fear, just frickin' dive in. That's my current going strategy. While being chased, your ability to juke and dodge will be your ultimate weapon. Whenever I roll in with no tools, be it flashbangs, shovels, anything, there's less headache, and I usually earn far more scrap, netting more money that I still won't even spend. At this point, you may be wondering, do I even run in with tools or no tools? I mean, there's drawbacks to both, and that's why it's entirely up to you, my friend. I personally would be more apt to recommend the no tools build because your scanner is usually all you need and sprinting away from enemies is usually gonna save you. Sure, the stun grenades can help you escape if you're in an unlivable situation, but usually you want to be gathering more loot faster so you don't get stuck in these situations where monsters start spawning as the later hours wane on. So essentially what I'm trying to say is the more things you carry to the facility with you, the slower you'll loot and the more frequent threats will spawn. It's kind of absurd, but I kind of lean towards the no tools build, but again, that's entirely up to play style. If you want to have tools and you want to fight monsters more or you want to feel a little safer, that's entirely up to you. But note that as you buy items, you will have less money going to the airfare for valuable moons. It costs a pretty penny to go to those more higher-ended moons that you'll need to be going to in the late game, so spend conservatively. At this point, I'm starting to realize a lot of these tips can apply to multiplayer, but I think they doubled down in single player. As for the interior of structures, paranoia is your greatest survival mechanism. Check your back regularly to catch sneaky brackens looking for a fresh neck to crack. Remember, a head on a swivel is one attached to a body. Perhaps the most underrated tool at the employee's disposal in Lethal Company are doors. Doors, doors, doors. Locked doors, unlocked doors, security doors, all very effective for saving your skin. Many enemies can open doors in this game, but coil heads and slimes can be blocked completely by unlocked closed doors, which can sustain a looting effort despite the presence of these enemies. Masked mimics are insanely easy to identify inside, as loading into single player means that an additional employee is a mimic. If you hear what sounds like player footsteps, you will immediately know that you have a visitor. Railing cheese is obviously not a viable strategy anymore, however it does work, albeit inconsistently, on bunker spiders. If all is up against the wall, push your luck by hopping on a railing to take the spider out with your shovel if need be. Again, this strategy is only partially reliable, so don't count on it to save you. With all these tricks in mind, you are now ready for one of the toughest challenges in Vanilla Lethal Company. At some point, the value each moon can offer won't put enough of a dent in the quota over the course of 3 days. Valuable moons will become required for continued survival, especially in solo. These 3 such moons as of update 49 cost additional money to travel to. Their airfare is quite expensive, but they do offer the most valuable loot, as well as the most dangerous monsters across their frigid wastes. Titan, the final moon, costs a whopping 750 credits to travel to. This is the most profitable and most dangerous moon in the game. One thing I love about Titan is that the main entrance staircase is just mere meters from the ship, making for easier escapes and exits. Titan is a challenge with a full squad, and even more so on solo. High enemy spawn rates mean that quick looting is a must. As you collect loot, try to drop them off the side of the map onto the platforms below. This will put collected salvage very close to the ship, partially eliminating the issue of having limited hands. This makes Titan a prime grinding moon, which can last you into very high quotas when alone. Solo Titan runs are infamous in the Lethal Company community, and it's a wild experience to take part in one. Not just to play on Titan solo, but to manage to acquire enough money without dying to get to Titan. Just keep an eye out for those lights while on Titan. If they start flickering, it may be time to go. Oh no, I'm out of here. Where's my stuff? Oh no, I'm in a circle. I've gone in a circle. I gotta get out of here. Oh nah. Oh no. Okay. Flower man, get out of here, buddy. Get out of here, buddy. It's not that scary if you're with friends, I tell you. I don't know how I got here. Oh, there she is. Oh no, just look away. That's the way out, though. I'm not gonna make it out of here. Let me think. Oh, no, she's hunting me. She's hunting me now. I know the way out. It's gotta be down here. It's gotta be. Oh, there it is, there it is. And there you have it. Perhaps the most obscure and partially forgotten, as well as challenging side of this indie co-op horror game, and how you can survive through it. Despite my own opinions on how this game is only good with friends, I will say surviving solo is truly an interesting experience, and I recommend checking it out. Managing to survive solo makes you feel unstoppable. It's just you versus the waves of monsters, turrets, and mines, as well as the company. Dive in. You may find that prospect exhilarating and even exciting.